Today we're joined with Mod Matt K.
Hi.
Mod West.
Hi.
Mod Merchant.
Hello.
Mod Kieran.
Yo.
Mod Ash.
Hello.
Myself, Mod Archie. So, new face on the couch. Mod Merchant. A couple questions for you. All right. Actually, no. Do you have a line to introduce?
Do I have a line to introduce?
Yeah,
You've made it really awkward now.
Okay, tell me about your gaming past.
My gaming past. Okay, so I originally was involved in StarCraft 2, competitive scene kind of stuff. Then as Old School came out, I started studying game development and design at university. And then I came to work at Jagex.
Hey.
And that was a year and a half ago.
All right. Have you played much Old School RuneScape?
Yes, I have, especially in the past. Well, I started playing as soon as I joined back again, and then Deadman launched, so I spent a lot of time on that.
Yeah.
And then Last Man Standing and stuff. And just at the moment, I'm working on my new main. So lots of AFK.
This is the third position you've been in now, isn't it?
I originally was a QA intern. So yeah, there we go.
And what level are you?
What level am I? Combat 104 at the moment. It's pretty low.
So you're not going to say your total level.
Not my total, not yet, no, not my total level.
You started after the Nightmare Zone era.
I did start my new main after the Nightmare Zone era.
That's a new move. Favorite update?
I really like things that have fleshed out what could have been seen as outdated skills. So things like rooftop agility, model in mind. That player design content's really good, I think.
Cool. One update you'd implement if nobody could stop you.
Ooh. Well, I'd work them out first how they'd work, but probably rev caves. It's going to be unpopular probably.
What would be dropped in it?
Vestas.
The weapon or the
PvP
armor?
weapons and armors.
Yeah, PvP weapons and armors. I mean, I think it's just personally, I think Vestas is also the best looking armor ever in RuneScape. Yeah. So I'd really like to see it make a return to the game.
How would you feel about if the ghosts in there didn't look like, say, the Revenants did back in those days?
I'd be perfectly okay with that.
I was hoping you'd say that, because it makes it so much easier for us to do. Mapping a cave down there was really quite straightforward, which, by the way, is how the Rev Caves came to exist in the first place. We had very little time to bring the wilderness back once the decision was made to do it, and stick them down a hole quick seemed like the easiest way of going about it, and thus the Rev Caves were designed.
Have you told them about your T-shirt story?
No, don't think so.
Your I brought the wilderness back T-shirt story.
Oh, I have a T-shirt. It says, "I brought the wilderness back." Now, it's not exactly a limited thing. We were selling them on jagex.com, but I figured since I'd done quite a lot of the content dev work to bring the wilderness back, I'd, buy myself one of those off the Jagex site and wash it. Say, what's the vinegar when you got them? And wear it for the...
That's what backstreetmerch.runescape.com.
And
Every chance you get.
and wear that for the launch day. And MMG, wandering around the office to celebrate the launch of Returning to the Wilderness, he saw the T-shirt and said, "Oh gosh, where did you get that made?" Jagex.com, we sell these. Unfortunately, I didn't have the gumption to think at that point to ask him to reimburse me, because it's like 14 quid with P&P, and anyway, we were trying to introduce some voice.
Yeah, so
Not to kill the mood or anything, but the wilderness was always there. It was just the activities in the wilderness that changed.
Yeah, and yet I take no pleasure in what we had to do to the end of 2007. I was very happy to have it undone.
Very much so.
Well, you take the PvP out, you put the PvP in. I believe if you keep going for long enough, you have to do the hokey cokey.
Do you know what that is, Chris?
I don't.
No.
Hang on.
Right.
It's called the hokey pokey in other countries.
Yes, we call it the hokey pokey. Educated every day.
amazing.
Last question, actually, from Mod Merchant. Where can players find you? You're on Twitter?
Yeah, I'm on Twitter at JXMerchant, and I also stream and whatnot as well. So
All right, sell it. Calm down.
sell out comments.
Okay. Let's get into the questions for today. Actually, beforehand, you guys might notice there's a couple pumpkins here.
Okay.
Thank you. From Emily there on Twitter, saying, think you guys should carve some pumpkins today. So I thought, it's a good idea. Let's go get some. We're going to do it. So we have Mod Matt K's pumpkin and Mod West's pumpkin. Now, one is an artist, one is not an artist.
I don't think that should be a qualifier.
Mine's.
Which one? Who's doing the hardest shape?
He is.
They're both quite difficult.
So I've decided to put on mine the scariest thing I could think of, and at the end we'll show you what they are.
Yeah. So we'll have a great reveal at the end.
Yeah.
Look forward to that.
What scares him?
May
going
cut
3D on
myself
this?
several
No,
times.
I messed up.
If he's carving
Anyway, I'm going to take the skin off so I can make mistakes now.
Also, Mod West is going to be showing off a bit of a Zeah sneak peek of the week, some of the changes that he's done, so look forward to that.
It is very cool. It is very cool. I really like what you've done.
We finally get into the questions for today. Datboy says, if you were to create another skilling boss, which skill would you like it to be for?
I think I would like a thieving skilling boss.
A thieving.
Yeah. So I like thieving, it's my favourite skill. And you've got to steal stuff off this boss. It could be like this massive, titanic, huge creature made of clay, and you've got to nick bits off it so it all crumbles to pieces, and where you take the bits from can sort of disable different parts. You whip its knees out and it's, it'll fall over and that sort of stuff.
Thieving's your favourite skill, and you support Liverpool. I was trying to say any connection here. But
Yeah, I'd like to. I think mining could fit pretty well into a skill design, like into a boss design.
Yes.
Could be pretty interesting.
A mining boss, you could call it Defender of a Rock.
Oh wow! Yes, you could do that.
Wow.
No, I do think. I think a mining one would be very cool.
I think
There's a lot you can
would
do
be
with it.
interesting. There's
Construction
so many
would be
possibilities you
interesting,
could
yeah.
do there.
Construction you can easily see how that would come into it. You construct a wall, you block it off, or using agility to jump over it as well. Like this, I really do want to do more scaling bosses at some point.
Now,
It's
there was
exciting.
an idea, I think Dan had it when he was here, about building a big mountain which you had to get to the top of. When you got to the top of it, on the top of it had a massive dragon that you wouldn't fight directly, but to defeat it you had to take out the skilling stuff underneath, to mine through it underneath and build stuff to do it. I think that was Dan's idea, was it yours?
It wasn't mine. I don't remember hearing of it ever.
Yeah, no, I think that was Dan's idea. But it's this massive big volcano you climb up, mountain you climb up.
Kudos to him.
Yeah. I mean, Dan always did have good ideas and good vision about stuff, which was always interesting.
All right.
There you go.
No sarcasm there.
No, that's completely honest.
I'm so tempted to make a joke, but carry on.
Next question. Mr. Mammal says, can you make it so that individual pieces of clue item sets can be added to your player-owned house treasure chest?
It would take a fairly big rework of how it's currently stored, because at the moment it's stored with just space for yes or no for the whole set. If we rip all that out and replace it with something that could remember each piece individually, and then manage to convert your existing states from what you've currently got so that you don't lose what you put in there, then it can be done. So take a bit of doing.
It's fairly requested for what it's worth, but I don't know
take
how
a bit
to.
of doing.
Yeah. Okay. See if it gathers more support.
Enough support to warrant all the things we wouldn't be doing while we're doing that.
No, just to warrant throwing it on the list, and then it'll get there eventually. Of course. Somebody throw me a pen, please.
So a candle lighter.
I forgot I'm going to start. Hey,
How you getting on?
I'm going to start doing this.
It's alright?
Not the most obvious, is it?
Yeah, it's
There's going to be fire come out when you press it.
Okay.
So I need to watch out for the see-through bits.
That's not a pen.
I know.
Okay. Next question. Pudgy says,
We might be heading out for another fire alarm.
can you increase all hard diary items that have a limit of 1 teleport per day to 3 for convenience, excluding the Wilderness Sword 3?
He said the C word, but I'll be okay with this one. Convenience,
Okay.
not diary.
Right.
But you gotta be okay with this one.
Sounds good to me.
Yeah, sounds like a nice change.
All I hear is the subtle background noise of
Yeah, I just said carving pumpkins.
pumpkins being cut.
Is it maybe the carving noises setting off the mics? Are you guys making out? Please don't cut off a finger.
They're not making out.
Oh, sorry, that's okay. Forget
I
you had
don't
to say
aim
that
to
here.
cut off a finger, no, you're quite right.
So gross in there.
Okay. This is a great Q&A so far.
Well, we can keep talking about stuff.
Yeah. Cresselia says, can Thurgo be allowed to smith us a blue-right sword after the Knight Sword quest is completed? There's a follow-up to that. A few people replying saying, I wish I had the ability to get all the quest items post-completion.
I think certainly the ones that you can wear and do stuff with, I think is a great idea.
Yeah, the oldie dagger.
Yes.
Oh, yes.
So I think there's a wonderful sort of I don't know, this thing that happens in RuneScape where people see something they haven't seen in years. They go, oh, I remember that, or where's that from? It's like, oh, I remember that quest, the whole thing.
Everyone did it when they were new, but they did that quest and they didn't get the second one. Then they saw their friend wandering around with that massive blue right sword.
What is with
You were just so jealous.
It is weirdly big, the blue sword.
My
thought it was always the
It's the same thing as the
Legends
Castle Wars
quest.
one, isn't it?
Is it?
Is
So
it?
it might be.
Maybe it is. It's a similar. Yeah, I think it might be the same
Yeah,
model.
and for what it's worth, I'm told, at least from the internet, that you can make 2 and just drop one, and then you can keep
Almost
it.
certainly.
Okay, there you go.
Demon sigil, I think it is, or demonic sigil from. I think it's,
Oh yeah, absolutely.
yeah, the one that you hold,
yes.
count with it.
Oh, yeah.
I want it,
yes.
I can't get it.
I've still got it. It's like, I knew that, so I'm like, I'll keep in that one.
You know, if, however, you're looking for the Violi dagger from Legends Quest, there's kind of the models around, because Mod Ghost was a little bit busy making all the kit for the rewards of the achievement diaries, and since we needed a bone crusher, and he was busy making all the armour and stuff, I kind of took Violi's dagger and squished it a bit and painted it a different shade, and that's your bone crusher. I was on a
If we
budget.
were to do it, I think we need something in the house to keep all this stuff in. So I had quest box or something.
That's an
So
interesting idea.
players could.
The quest hall is a nice place for mounting your quest stuff.
Oh, absolutely, yeah, and I think it's a good
How
idea.
would they obtain all of them? Would they have to go back to the originator, or could they kind of talk to the wise old man and then maybe he gives it
I'd
back?
rather they went to the place. I think
Okay.
in RS3 you can go back to the dungeons under Karazi Jungle and smash them barrels, you know, the ones where you might find a moss giant in the barrel, they added a chance to find... Seriously. Or Chaos Dwarf, that at least makes sense. But they had a chance of getting Violi's dagger back out of it after the quest or something. I'd rather you did something themed around the quest.
Yeah.
And also we'd be doing it for the things that are worth having, perhaps, like those wieldable cool stuff, rather than trying to get every obscure item that from any point in a quest, like the random note you found in a place that told you where to go next. I'm not doing it for that.
We're also gathering questions from the chat, guys, so let's just grab this one from Peter. He says, can we get an estimate on when in November Hardcore Iron Man mode will be released?
How's Jed been getting on with it?
He's been making fairly good progress from what I see. We do, of course, need the web team to be able to do their side of things as well before we can
It's done
launch
as
it.
well, I think they're practically on top of that. So,
Oh, good.
I've got one more thing for the web team to do, haven't we? Because
The
the engine
bit with
guys have done
death.
their job.
The bit where people get struck out
Yeah.
once they've died, that's something that we haven't had before, and it needs to be.
Yes, I think that's what they've got left to do. I think that's about it. So we're getting very close. But as for a date, last time we give dates out, we don't always manage to hit them. So as soon as we're absolutely sure, we'll let you know.
All right. Wallbounce asks, can we ever see another Wilderness Rejuvenation update, something like the Revenant Caves or those Wilderness Implings that have been suggested? Those were really cool.
Speaking of Rev Caves,
Go on, pitch.
I'd like it. It'd be cool.
I think it is the rewards. That's the controversial part, right? Like,
Well, it's what makes the Rev Caves worth going to kill the Revs for, right? And that's why it was such a good BK hotspot.
Well, yeah, it wasn't just for the fun of a ghost that keeps going back and forth while you're trying to poke it.
Yeah.
and I mean, they vary in levels from like 3 to 120, don't they? So it's really content for everybody. Decent money making, PKing out of it.
It's whether it'll pass the poll or not.
Yeah.
We can offer it at some point.
Yeah.
But
I think the armors would be more in favor to pass versus the weapons.
The brawler gloves, I think, would not.
No,
Definitely.
No,
I wouldn't particularly want to throw
Yeah, I
them
don't think I'd particularly want them in.
I mean, the stat hammer, the Dragon Warhammer is kind of similar.
It's
Best Longsword was like the best weapon in the entire
That's
game.
Longsword is crazy.
Yeah, a little heavy.
I'd like to see something like it, and please know that means like thematically, not power level. But
The nice thing about PvP armors is once they were used once,
They're gone,
you couldn't
yeah.
repair them, and
Yeah,
that's
yeah.
it. They degrade and they're gone. So
yeah, they're their own items.
if you killed someone with them, what do you get?
Coins.
coins, yeah.
Is it a good amount of coins?
It wasn't a bad amount of coins, but it wasn't like, it didn't justify how strong they were. The person who just killed you.
Yes.
I just recall like statuettes. That was
Yeah,
nice.
they dropped those as well. I'm not sure we need that kind of cash coming in the game, even if they were quite rare.
Yeah, I mean, regardless, it's something that we'd like to do, but it needs to be well thought out. Striker says, when will it be possible to fly to any glider location without having to go to the stronghold first?
We say when. There is no date set for an update of that nature, but it's a perfectly legit thing for us to poll, but not set a date for at this point, because first it might not pass, God knows why not, but it might not, and also it might be a little while before we get to it.
Is there a question in the chat? Say Hodor.
I don't know who they're talking about. Who are they asking?
Why would you say that?
Because some people seem to think I sound like Hodor, which is
Who's Hodor?
the guy from Game of Thrones who can only say Hodor. The
Game of
giant.
Don't read the chat. Don't read the chat. If you haven't been caught up.
Yeah.
All right, moving on.
So I went to watch Game of Thrones. My wife's read all the books. We sat down to watch the first episode. She sat there and she looked at me and went, well, he dies earlier on, so does she. And he does this, he does that. And I'm like, oh, I'm going to play RuneScape then. So, never watched them.
That's a
Your wife's
disgrace.
a bad case, man.
That's an absolute disgrace.
That's so mean.
Yeah.
Is that an accepted grounds for annulment or something?
Oh, it could well be. It could well be.
Okay, moving on. Iron Gamebogue says, just an idea. Oh, this came up a while ago. I thought it'd be an interesting discussion point. Can we get a Dead Man mode season where once you leave Tutorial Island, you have to choose a team like Saradomin or Zamorak and can only attack players of the opposing team?
I like that idea.
So this
Quite
is
fun.
supposedly supposed to rid Clan Man mode, where you already have a big team and you can only use them to help kill the people. There's an argument against this, though, right? If a big team, I'm not going to say any names, but if a really big team that has a lot of people in their team decides to play, which they will, they'll be put on both teams. And even though they are technically against each other, being Saradomin and Zamorak, they will still work together to take a
Yeah, I mean,
game.
I think that's really, really interesting. It's something we've actually spoken about this idea before.
Yeah.
I think, and I think it's almost like it's a weird thing to say, but it's almost like as much as people put into it, that's what they'd get out of it. If they looked for ways of exploiting it, which there probably would be realistically,
Yeah.
that would be problematic. But theoretically, it is a great idea. I think.
I love the idea of doing that, and I think it really does work for the season. I mean, in terms of the final tournament week, I don't think it really works, because obviously you do need a winner in the end.
The thing is,
it needs to come down to
the
one
winner is
person, not a
Zamorak.
winning team, right?
Yeah, it's
but during the
extremely risky.
season, for the top 2,000 people that get chosen to take to the final,
I'd
I think it could really work
I
and
wouldn't see it as
provide
a
a really
Deadman
different
season.
feel season.
I wouldn't see it as a Dead Man season. I'd see it more as like you know how we do LMS high stakes.
Yeah.
We do a weekend
As a
of
separate
Team
thing,
Dead
yeah.
Man or something.
Yeah, that's
which would
exactly
be really
what you said.
interesting.
You know, we've done quite a lot of Dead Man things. I'd be very happy to see us do a different type of competition like you're describing.
I think really interesting. I'd love to see it.
Should have more than 2 teams, like 3 teams.
Yeah, Gothic.
I think we'd do a few, yeah.
Yeah, okay. It's an interesting thought, but like Mod Merchant said, I stick to that name, it's very risky to start a season with, right? If we decide to start a season with that and then it turns out it fails,
Yeah,
we're stuck with that.
I would genuinely like to look into doing it as a weekend thing or something, because I think it could be fantastic.
Yeah, definitely. All right. Dwarf Play says, can hardcore Iron Man accounts on death be put back on Tutorial Island as level 3 characters with reset stats and to live up to the hardcore game mode as it does in every other game?
Is that what it does in RuneScape?
No, they might be referring to so where hardcore,
other hardcore games.
Yeah, like hardcore and Diablo, I guess, is a very famous one.
Right.
On that, you die, your character's gone.
At present, I think we'd have trouble doing the full reset they're describing.
We don't have a way to do it
So,
without a lot of manual labour, which is basically every single variable on your account. We would have to manually have a piece of script that sets it back to its default value.
Yeah.
as Ronan said earlier, we have to stick with what we pulled as well. We pulled something, it passed, that's what we're going to do.
Changing it to something we don't seem actually able to do anyway probably ain't the way to go.
Yeah.
The argument here, it may be worth talking about, saying people are complaining saying this devalues normal Iron Man. Why would I make a normal Iron Man if I can just make a hardcore Iron Man and then when I die I'll be a normal Iron Man anyways?
Yeah, I think an interesting counterpoint to that, though, is that you're going to progress those accounts completely differently. There's things that you're going to do as an Iron Man to get ahead and that you wouldn't risk doing as a hardcore. So I think the reason you'd make an Iron Man is if you weren't interested in the hardcore aspect, which will be quite a few players, and you want to progress as efficiently as possible, while, yeah, you could be a hardcore for a little bit, but you wouldn't really care, you'd probably just make a normal Iron Man.
Right.
I think the hardcore... I don't think it devalues Iron Man. I think what Iron Man achieve is still a pretty huge accomplishment.
That's a very good point. I'm not going to, like, if I was playing hardcore, I wouldn't bother going into the wilderness.
Yeah,
period.
exactly. Yeah.
On an Iron
Whereas
Man,
if you're
I
a standard
definitely
Iron Man, you don't care. You'll just
Yeah.
go.
For the players who are asking how Deadman manages to reset anything, remember what Kieran's talking about isn't actually about the stats at all. We're talking about the many variables, like all your quest statuses. There's a good 1,000 or so of them at present. It gets longer every week as we add more data to the game for more things that we track you doing. I don't just mean boss kill counters and things we show on screen, but all the music unlocks, all the all the preferences. All of those would need to be wiped as well. And that suddenly becomes an incredibly long script that would get longer week after week, and every time we add a new bit of data to the game, we'd have to remember to put in this script as well, which, yeah, obviously we could just slow down and do it every time there's an update so that you could have this one little feature. But that's not very good for ever wanting anything to be released, and also if we forgot, then the results would actually matter quite badly to you. So that's a rather bad way to go if you want the code base to remain maintainable in the long term.
Yeah.
So I'm afraid no, that's not something we can really offer. As for how we, start a whole new season of Dead Man and wipe everybody, we do that by purging the entire save game database. Not, of course, something that helps very much for the individual player who's just died if we wipe everybody.
You guys make sure you're hiding your pumpkin designs, by the way.
Yeah, I think we're fine.
All right.
No pumpkin spoilers.
One guy got it.
If we were just guessing.
I don't know, probably just
maybe
guessing.
he's just guessing. Okay, back from Zero asks, why does going into your player-owned house reset Vengeance? I'm
I
curious.
suspect it resets just about everything, and maybe needn't.
True, it wouldn't be maybe when you enter, but probably as you leave.
Done. Like that.
All right.
Well
You want
done.
a free?
You gonna add any more detail?
No, I don't need any more detail. I think that's scary enough as it is.
Oh, I know what Matt's done.
Well, stay tuned to the end of the stream to see
You
that.
have quite a big clue by looking at it.
Well, all I saw is that bit for the whole time, and now I know.
Watch it, watch it. All
No, we good.
right. Where are we at here? Tuck says, can free-to-play get PvP
What?
worlds?
What?
Tuck says in tuxedo.
Tux, oh. I thought it was something else.
Can free-to-play get PvP worlds would allow for more diverse free-to-play group PvP experience?
I like the idea of a free-to-play PvP world. Why not? Maybe.
This is where we all disagree with you.
Probably, yeah.
I like the idea. I don't.
Free to play PKing, how is it? Is it healthy at the moment? If it's not healthy, then would adding another PvP area benefit or not? The
haven't checked it out.
PvP environment. That's the question that I have. I don't know the answer to that question.
A lot of people learn to PK in free-to-play, so I think there's always, an interest in it.
Definitely one that we need to look into.
Definitely something to
Probably
talk to people about too, I
Yeah,
think.
not an on-the-spot decision. Okay. Pulbus says, can we see the 2,000 Warriors Guild token sync for red ornament kit for the Dragon Defender? We don't need a sync for Warrior Guild tokens. I think there's just one reason for the red Dragon Defender that
We talked about it a few
Mod Ghost
months
made.
ago when we were doing the Drift Trails. It's a possibility. But it's not really got much further than that. I guess we could put on a poll.
I believe we did pull it and it failed, didn't it?
We thought to just change it outright, but not
Right,
having
okay.
the ability to change it.
So an actual ornament kit to be used on it, and coming from the Warriors Guild makes sense.
It does indeed, yeah.
The
As for a
price.
sync, I don't think it would be what you call an effective sync, because a sync should be something that goes on over time. Unless these are going to kind of go out the game and need people to buy more of them, it wouldn't be that effective.
Also, the purpose of a sync is for economic stability, and the Warriors Guild tokens don't have any economic value outside of grinding
For
cycles.
the sheer sake of getting a different shade of pink on you, Defender, that's the word, then I see no problem with
It's kind of a
yeah,
why
more
not, I
cosmetic.
guess. Yeah.
Just the time spent doing it.
It sounds more appropriate from a clue score reward. I like that.
We already have.
I don't know, Warriors Guild.
We have the gold
Defenders.
one.
Yeah.
Which doesn't have any pink on it.
Hell, if they're willing to spend one,
Yeah, it does make it running
Yeah, there
gold,
you
yeah.
go. Just buy the gold one.
Just buy the gold one.
Okay. Chrysilla says, can the Bandos God Sword be reduced to 50% of the bar? Its spec has a lower max hit than the Dragon Warhammer spec, and it's completely outclassed by a tier 60 weapon for most PvM situations. Apparently we pulled this and it failed, but that was before the Dragon Warhammer was released, so things have changed.
What's the spec do?
Drains their defense by whatever you hit. I think it's 60% right now, or 65 maybe.
I don't think anything's been viewed as that wrong with the BGS. Like,
If anything, most of the discussion was about how OP the Dragon Warhammer would be.
Yeah.
But yeah,
I've written it down because I'm more than happy to
That's a very mixed
offer it
reaction
and
there.
see what people want, really.
is this straw poll worthy?
Sure, why not? Should the Bandos God Sword spec be reduced to 50%? we've been back to back. More
No, I'm just worried about
competitive
Dragon
with
Design.
Right now, everybody's either selling their Dragon Warhammers or buying Thanos concerts until they see the results of the straw poll.
It's all right. I've got 5,000 Dragon Defender ornament kits in my bank, and now you just tell everyone to go buy them. Not really.
Okay, we'll get that straw poll in the chat for you guys momentarily. Next question, N4ES says, add an option to pay the Dark Mage in the Abyss and NPC contact to increase runecrafting pouch use before decay.
So basically repairing it early.
So-
that kind of decay, not the other kind of decays.
Yes. So it's the
You
request.
can already repair it early, but obviously, I think what they're asking for is to extend how long it lasts
Oh, I see,
beyond
yeah, I
the
see.
current limit for our fee.
I'd like them to work for
right,
that, you know,
okay.
maybe a wilderness
pay for
cape reward, a wilderness diary reward or something.
That'd be cool.
Something like that would probably seems more sense to me. You actually got to put effort into doing it rather than
Yeah, I
lob a
don't
load
just
of
like it
cash
as a
in.
bought thing. Yeah.
Yeah, the original idea was for it to come with the 99 cape for runecrafting, but that wasn't so much favored. But as a different reward, maybe makes more sense. We can decide what that is.
Runecraft in Skill and Boss.
Ambitious thinking.
I don't expect the code wouldn't be that hard to do
What do
for
you
it.
do? Craft runes and throw them at them?
Just whenever it's implementing the thing that counts up degradation state, don't.
There's a lot of places currently.
Got the
It's a
results
horrible
back to the
code.
straw poll.
Yeah.
So, should the Thanos God Sword be reduced to 50% spec? 70% yes. It's not overwhelming support, but
That's actually more than I
Yeah.
expected.
Oh, by the way, my socks, they were sent in by somebody called Opner, who wanted me to wear them on stream, so I have put, there we go, there you go. Burger socks. It's probably some meme or something, and it probably means something incredibly bad, but I have burger socks,
the internet's ruined you, mate.
and I do, they are quite cool, so there we are. Thank you, Opner.
What sort of burger is it?
And it's got white and yellow stuff, so
Is
it's
it
either
cheesy?
cheese or mustard. It seems to have a
Cheesy
burger.
on your feet would be appropriate.
Yeah, it has burger. It probably has cheese, and I think it has lettuce as well. It's got green stuff. So that could just be a massive bit of cucumber or something. I don't know.
You see the colour of this napkin, no?
There we
Nice. That's really nice.
I'm so glad I'm...
Thanks
So
for pointing that out.
What is this anyway?
if you're questioning why I'm using a napkin to pick up the Fanta bottle, so we have a drinks fridge behind the cameras for people that are on the sofa. And so I picked this up, and then my hand gets all sticky. I don't know what it
The
is.
story's finished now. That's it. Bang. Next question. Next question.
Someone spilled Coke all over the fridge and then didn't clean it up. Now it's everywhere. Anyway,
Yeah.
All right. Well,
We are recruiting
that
people.
being
Come and
said-
join us. Please apply.
We could use some sane people.
we have more questions. Lord Gozer says, can you add onyx bolt tips and / or onyx, uncut onyx at a 1 in 32,000 chance to Zar creatures drop tables? That'd be a cool idea.
Yeah.
Making that place a little bit more active. It used to be so active, and now it's not, obviously.
You know these 1 in 32,000 chances? I know in theory they do turn up 1 in 32,000 times, but given how many people asked us to, put something decent on the Hellhound drop table after we gave it the 1 in 32,000 chance of a smouldering stone, I'm not sure it actually helped as much as people thought it would when we put it there. So sure we can do that to try and liven up the area, but I'm not so convinced it would liven up the area.
Yeah, I don't think people would dedicated farm for a 1 in 32k in an army.
in terms of the bolt tips, they were added in an update in like 2008, 2009-ish, I think.
I mean, of all places to drop that stuff, that's the most relevant. And
It's thematically nice.
Yeah.
I agree with Ash. I don't think it would actually drive that much to the area. It would just be a nice boon for anybody utilising the area anyway. So, kind of, but I don't think it would have its intended effect.
fair enough. Okay, Frog4012 says, can you add hardcore ultimate Iron Man mode as well? Got a fair argument, all right, hang on.
All those target tricks they have involving dying in tactical places to
Yeah.
preserve their stuff, that'll be hilarious.
So that's it. Ultimate Iron Man mode was made significantly easier thanks to the looting bag, but without the ability to die, hardcore Ultimate Iron Man would be a real challenge.
I remember that. Remember when Hardcore first came out? Not Hardcore, Ultimate. That someone made a video where they had to drop their dragon axe, take the boat to Entrana, do the quest, come back and pick the dragon axes back up before it disappeared.
Wow.
Because obviously they didn't have any idea about the looting bag, and I don't think Zilver existed yet.
Not at that point.
Those were sort of the things you had to do if you wanted to keep your rare items.
That's crazy.
Which is just nuts.
I don't doubt that at some point next year we'll do hardcore ultimate Iron Dead Man mode, man mode.
They also made the armor from the Ultimate Iron Man, so I'd have to create a new set of armor to make it more ultimate.
Right.
More ultimate.
But I don't doubt we'll do it at some point next year.
Okay.
It's hard to go beyond
Assuming there's
ultimate,
design.
given the meaning of the word ultimate.
We'll start at normal hardcore Iron Man mode, and then we'll see how much you guys want it after that. Okay. We've still got plenty of time. Side of a Dreams says, give Kraken tentacles a 50% chance to degrade alongside the whip. That way there's a bit of a sync for them.
Wasn't listening in the slightest. Have no idea.
Kraken tentacles are crashing.
Alright.
I thought they were much cheaper. They're 300k, but still, people want them to be worth much more. Do something about it. This is a suggestion.
We kind of designed the tentacle to be part of creating a whip sync, and by and large, it's created the whip sync. Now we need the tentacle sync. I'm fine with that, although getting it through a poll would be of
Tried it a couple of times in the past, haven't we?
What, polling a
Polling
tentacle
a
sync
tentacle
just like
sync.
that?
But not like that one, but different ones.
Yeah, we've polled ones that actually gave the player something. Polling taking their tentacle away half the time, we've never polled that, and I do not think they'd vote for it in
I
that
think
kind
you're
of
probably
quantity.
right, yeah.
We might do better to revisit the other things we pitched as tentacle syncs, like chopping it up into sinew to do stuff with.
I think the main issue is you kill the Kraken boss, and it doesn't really drop anything of substantial value anymore. The empty tridents are pretty much worthless because most of the value comes from the runes you put in them. And then similarly with the Kraken tentacle, it's the whip that provides the bulk of the value for the Kraken whip. So perhaps there's something else we can offer on that drop table to make Kraken more worth killing
Or
instead.
you cut up the tentacle and into sinew and wrap it around your trident, and it does something good.
Designing.
Yes.
Does some undefined good. Yeah.
Yes. Given that we have a trident and swamp already, that particular space is sadly filled, but then at the end it takes away both the strips of sinew and the trident.
People spamming profit Kraken.
Chop them up and cook them into food. Good
Calamari.
That's
Yes.
not going to be worth very much, no.
Well, no, if it's a good food, very good food,
It'd have to be, pretty good.
then it could probably do multiple things, not just feed you, but
You could
it
eat a
could
Kraken tentacle and it heals you to full.
Yeah, so it heals you to full. It gets rid of any poison and any other bad
Can you
stuff.
imagine?
Makes you invincible.
Some minted PK has just got an inventory full of Kraken
Heals you to
tentacles.
full and adds 10 hit points on top of that as well.
So the 50% chance to degrade alongside the whip is a decent idea, but I think we're asking for maybe if you have any other ideas for a Kraken sync, then we can consider those.
I still think next time we introduce a new bow, we make the player string it with Kraken tentacle sinew.
I actually like that idea.
Yeah, I think that makes sense, personally.
If we ever had the redwood bow.
No, something from being too cheap as well.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Okay, let's move on to the next question then. Basic Fail says, with the new community manager, will Old School RuneScape finally get more player moderators?
Yes, that is one of the first big initiatives I'm going to be
Already started?
undertaking, yeah. So, yes, is the answer to that, essentially.
We can't give a date as to when.
Oh, no, not
Okay.
yet. But it is literally happening.
We're
So,
aiming for around 600 new mods.
Cool.
Is it going to be a gradual thing, or is there going to be like one moment in time where we suddenly make 600 people?
it's going to be a gradual thing. I had the first batch of names and I went through them today, so
Any spoilers?
no. Tweet Ronan if you want PMod. Yeah.
Yeah, and he'll let you know to add them, right? Yeah.
Okay.
The more
actually,
often you tweet Ronan as well,
Yeah.
the more chance you've
It's
got.
like a raffle entry. Every time you tweet him, you get another entry into getting PMod, so
And this is how
Go
we
ham.
spot gullible people.
Is it worth going into specifics, like what's the criteria? Or-
Criteria,
No?
I think
Okay.
there's a few things to sort of be aware of, I guess. Is obviously whether you've done anything bad. So, anybody Return the Wilderness isn't going to get it, put it that way.
Did you see Mod we savaged him on Twitter?
Yes, yeah,
That's good.
yeah.
I enjoyed that.
There's also security, so if you had an insecure account, you're sharing it, you're not going to get it either. I think they're probably the two biggest parts, aren't they?
That's quite fair.
You need to have
You've got to be-
authenticator
you've got to
and that
be-
sort of
yeah,
thing.
Authenticator as well. So yeah, if you haven't got authenticator, you're not going to become PMods. Everybody get authenticator now. Yeah,
Yep.
All right.
yeah, that, isn't it? Purity and being nice people.
That'd be nice.
Okay. I think you just made the community better.
I did. Yeah.
There's an image for the next question. People says in-game time zone. So he says players from all over the world can work off of one time would be useful in clan-related events.
That was actually already on the list of future polls because they
There it
sent me
is.
that picture first.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah. No, I think
the
it's a very
box.
good thing to do.
Chat
Yeah,
mate.
we weren't quite sure about where to put it, but we thought it was a great thing to have.
Yeah. No,
The
absolutely.
clan chat area seemed like a nice idea at the time because, if you're trying to do stuff synchronised with other players, there's a reasonable chance you had a chat channel or
Yeah.
involving a chat channel. The drawback is that it was pointed out on Twitter after that picture was first posted that Jed's got a nice little short name and a player with a longer name might not fit so well.
Yes, indeed. Yeah. But yeah, I mean, there's a few UI stuff to sort out, but
It's really just a
Yeah.
question of where to stick it because we're very happy to have the feature.
indeed.
If
Yeah.
they just know where they want it put.
Right.
Are you
No.
done? Are you done?
Almost.
It's pretty good.
I think it's really
He
super
puts
intricate,
all
but it
that
really
work.
isn't.
You give him a. It's pretty good.
That's pretty good.
That's what I wanted.
It's not bad.
Okay.
No Jojo says, can you add a whip enchant scroll to the bounty hunter store that allows the whip to not give attack and defense XP on controlled attack style? So basically, it would still only give 1.3x strength experience, so it wouldn't be very good for training. And it would count as controlled for stat bonuses. Now, this allows peers to use whip on demand, so prices would go up. It would have to degrade, arguably, and this would allow them to use it in PVM and PvP as well.
I think that's over catering to pures, kind of.
I disagree entirely.
Really?
I think. I
Chris,
think,
yeah, could you play a pure? So
I think it would get like no votes.
if you're a pure, you
got
play
my
around the
vote.
rules of the game. Like, we're not going to change your whip so you can use it like that, in my opinion.
It crushed my hopes.
The issue is that you get to your perfect stats for your pure account, but obviously by peaking you're gaining XP, and you ruin your pure account.
Exactly.
Okay.
You make a 70 attack pure, you get the whip, then you go PKing. A week later, you're 72 attack, and then you're like, I don't like this anymore, and then you make a new account. There you go. Not gonna happen. Sorry. Len says, can we get a RuneScape name cleanup from those banned accounts?
We're working on it.
We'd really like that. We'd really like that.
We're working on it.
Anonymous says, can we have a look at anglerfish? They're currently 18,000 experience per hour. Max, and it would be so nice to have them give more experience per fish. I'm not suggesting much, maybe 30 to 40k an hour. Possibly better rate with a Zeah diary reward.
How much are anglerfish currently?
So I just looked into that. They're 1.7k-ish, give or take, and you make like 500k profit.
the
an hour.
comparison to a dark crab? What are a dark crab worth?
Actually, sorry, that was dark crabs. Anglerfish must be about the same though, right?
No idea on the price of anglerfish.
Anglerfish are better, I believe.
Anglerfish were meant to be better, but they're a bit of a pain to get hold of.
Yep.
Disregard that number I said.
If there was something
Had
players
one
would like
job,
to change
Chris.
to make them more worth having, then we could also look at that in addition to just turning them into a XP grindy thing. Because to be honest, if they're not something people want in the first place, turning it into a good XP activity to make people fish more of them is not going to help with the
Yeah.
desirable.
Yes.
Okay, so apparently
Both is
they're
an option.
250k an hour. That's not nearly as good.
They're 1.8k.
Right.
Anglerfish.
The question is, how many do you fish an hour? Yeah, tell me, Ronan.
The idea is obviously the anglerfish are the top food. They have a substantial heal over max health benefit that we do want them to be a high price in regards to people buying them to use. And unfortunately, that probably also means that it's not too desirable to fish them because we can't give you that many of them. If we increase the XP rate to be good, that also means that lots of people are just going to go there and get the increase the amount of fish coming into the economy. So we have to look at it from both sides.
Certainly it was intended to be decent money, low XP.
Yeah.
If on the other hand it's not decent money, it'd be nice if we could make it so.
It's very AFK money as well. So
That's worth mentioning then.
Because they fill your inventory so slowly, is that?
yep.
Something we can look at if it needs rebalancing.
But I would happily look at the rates and see if there's anything we can tweak.
Okay.
And on a similar theme, Zora fishing scales. I'd be quite happy to give a lot more scales from there than we do now.
Yes, definitely.
All right. Let's grab this one from the chat. Henrik says, any updates on the scalable UI? Is it still in QA or is it lost forever with Ian?
Well, we certainly didn't lose the code. We kept all that. And the last thing he did was build us a build of how far he got with it and leave us a few notes about what he thought needed still to be done. So he gave us one build that's stable and it allows, double 1.5 times, 2 times, 2.5 times, all the halves. And it seems mostly functional except for he never got around to finishing the mini-map or some of the older format interfaces we still have out there. They, I think, don't render right. And so those things would need to be sorted, plus some actual commands so that we, as content developers, could turn it on and off when you press buttons, because at the moment you have to type magic cheat commands that are restricted to JMods. So that's a little more engine work needs to be dealt with. He also tried to make a version that would let us have any scale we liked. He spent quite a lot of time working on that. To be honest, it's not clear whether that's strictly necessary. 1.5 to 2.5, that's quite a lot of flexibility for you. And spending a huge amount more time to let you have 2.25, 2.26 may not be the best use of engine time as we can get it in the first place. The other thing, though, is one of his comments was, then I'd like to look at rewriting this so that it's not tied in quite so hackily. I don't honestly know what he meant by that, but if someone who in the remaining engine team goes through and finds that the way he implemented it was not very good for future maintenance, they might need to do some more restructuring of Ian's code to make it okay to have in the client for the foreseeable future. I don't know what that would entail, to be honest. Anyway, so we've got the remaining engine team available. They obviously do have a lot of other work to be doing, but they're taking over what Ian was halfway through doing when he left, and hopefully we'll be able to get some attention onto this to find out what actually is needed to make it releasable, because we would like that feature very much.
Indeed.
We've put an awful lot of work into it, so it makes complete sense that we finish it off. And
Yes, at the very least it's a tribute to him. Give him bringing back for a party when it comes out.
it is also a wonderful feature. So
It looks lovely. He's got the font smoothed and everything, so you don't get jagged pixelation.
All right. Where are we? Raccoon Boy says, can you make Moss, Ice, and Fire Giants drop the giant key as well?
Sure.
It's a giant key. Do all giants drop it?
Well, I think it's only put
Logical.
on hill ones at the time, so...
I mean, Fire Giants already killed a lot.
that's the issue that jumps to my mind, is that fire giants already have an incentive to kill because they're good to kill already. That's going to dramatically increase the amount of people getting these keys and going to that boss.
Yeah.
Moss giants, not so much. Moss giants are also accessible in free-to-play. I don't believe fire giants are.
No, I don't think so.
Definitely not.
So I'd happily add moss giants because it's another free-to-play giant, and the whole idea is it's a free-to-play.
They got ice giants, but there's not a lot of them in free-to-play, and I don't think they're that popular.
Yeah, I think there's just a couple few in Varrock Sewers, I think,
Okay.
at the far end.
Sorry, I said ice.
Ice.
I thought I said
Ice.
I was thinking about the Blue Light Cave.
Yeah, there are some there.
So do you think just the Ice and Moss Giants then? Or is that weird giving it to two but not three?
It is a bit weird.
Odd, isn't it?
Well, if the player wants it for the sake of all giants drop the giant thing, then that would be odd. If, on the other hand, players accepted that it was very, very uncommon off the fire giants,
Yes.
like that one in 32k that kept floating around earlier, then it would fit what the player was aiming for without doing anything silly with fire giants.
Okay. One to look at then, maybe. Random number says, would it be possible to change ancient shards to be added with any amount being held? As of right now, you need multiples of 3 or more. Maybe one shard equals 300 charges.
Might have to to have a look at exactly what that code's doing in the first place.
Yeah.
If it's
Why-
trying to do 3 at a time, then, if you gave it 5, then that isn't quite enough for 2, so it ran down to 1, and the other 2 would just be lost.
I imagine it's probably because you need 3 in the first place to make it. And then it prevents you from just topping it up with 1 at a time.
The awkward bit would be if, we needed to change the way the data's stored to handle the flexibility the player's asking for.
Yep.
Trying to change that retroactively on everyone's account who already have the item would not necessarily be an easy check.
Not. So, very happily do it if we can.
Add it to the list to look at. Jonai says, since there are private options for KBD and Kraken, can we get the same for DKs? Iron Man are constantly crashed there. So I thought, of course, this has been brought up before, but with Hardcore Iron Man coming, it might be, well, I don't know
Yeah,
if we're brave
so
enough to do DKs. But
we pulled this a while ago to have an instance version of the Daganov lair that you can access once you've paid this dude 500,000 GP, and then you can permanently access it. It didn't pass, I think. It hit 73%. I can't even say that number without...
I thought it was a diary reward we offered.
It was a diary reward stacked with that, actually. You're right, yeah. It was a diary reward plus 500k to this guy. And it failed on 73%. We were thinking perhaps it would be more likely to go down well if we offered it as a Slayer Task only lair that you pay to access still. Not a one-time fee, though, that you pay each time.
The bit where it's restricted to people on task, preferably a boss task rather than just a Daganov task, perhaps,
Yeah, that'd be even better.
means that it won't cause the loot to be coming into the game like the clappers, which players were concerned it reasonably would.
a lot of yeses for that idea.
I'm sure.
Hang on to that one.
The main issue is people want to do the Slayer Task without getting crashed.
Yeah, I like
Yeah.
the
So-
task. That makes sense.
Is that...
Sort of player wants to think that they'd love a second copy of the room or something where they're not allowed to get the good loot drops, but they can at least do their task to get rid of it again.
Is that a terribly difficult thing to implement then?
It wouldn't be completely straightforward, but it's more than doable.
We'd have to look into what you were telling me about those spiny spikes,
Yeah,
those
so
annoying things.
the spinny leaps, I don't know what the hell that word is meant to say, but
Those things.
those things, so they keep on changing between under the water and over the water. When they're under the water, they're still there, they're just not visible on your mini-map. Are they? But you can't see them, they're going under the water and you can't click on them. And then they pop up occasionally and attack you. And yeah, so that's got to be handled now. Instead of being on the surface world, it's got to be handled potentially up to like 2,000 times. And you have to implement them slightly differently to achieve that.
Fortunately, we've got a few more engine features available to us these days than we did back in, 2007 when the thing was turning up in the first place. So we might well be able to handle that with, again, take a bit of doing.
Okay. Where are we here? There's an image for this one, I believe. RC399 says, can you please add Dark Wizard hoods as a head slot item for free-to-play and pay-to-play?
Someone tweeted this at me. I like it. But a lot of people like hoods being quite prestigious.
Would they be purely cosmetic is my other question. I mean, if the
I
monks
think they have the same
hood
stats
would
as
offer,
wizard hat.
if the monk's hood, though, would offer a prayer bonus.
Oh, the monks. Oh. That would be.
Couldn't be that
That would
big
have to
a
be
deal.
sold.
If we,
anyways.
if we had Monk's Hood, we also have to add Monk's Hood G.
Yeah.
A lot of
think
support
they
in the
look
chat
pretty
for that,
sick.
actually.
Yeah, I think they look pretty sick. I'd
Yeah.
like to see those.
Well, people love hoods.
It's a nice thing for free to play, isn't it?
They do,
Yeah.
that's true.
Cool idea.
It lets them mix up the fashion a little bit.
Did they say where these would be coming from?
They did not. That is for you to decide.
Uncommon drops from the creatures is one way of doing it.
Yeah.
Sounds like it makes sense. All right. I'm trying to find this question. I can't find it. We're just going to go to it anyways. Halloween 2016 was an event that is currently still in game and will be for the next week, maybe 1 week after that. Soonish. It's going out of the game. Do it if you haven't already. Anyway, some people were saying they really loved it and they'd rather it stayed in the game as perhaps a quest in free to play. What do you guys think about that?
So we've been thinking about it as well, because we've had so many people ask us about it, because this is very much a standalone piece of content. And while it's a Halloween event, it is very much stays away from a lot of the common themes we use for holiday events, and it's quite self-contained. And we really think like that really could be a solid standalone quest. And so whether you want it to be really, but we can do it. And the rewards would be different. We would keep the Halloween rewards as Halloween event rewards, and we'd offer something like 25 GP and a pat on the back, like you get for free-to-play quests.
See, I don't get this. A lot of no's in the chat, but then like
That surprises
they're always
me.
like, we want quests, and then
Yeah.
you're like,
That surprises
well,
me
this
because
could
it's
be a
such
quest.
it's such a small RuneScape-y thing. Like, you know, it felt quintessentially RuneScape with the puzzles and whatnot. And I'm pretty surprised by the pushback against it in the chat. to be
Essentially, all we're
honest.
saying is, shall we take it out or not?
Yeah.
I mean, it's not exactly a
Surprising.
large.
It's
change.
it's too good content to throw away.
I mean,
We're gonna stop it regardless. So there you
there's
go.
there's a couple of issues, like if you've already done it, you might have to end up doing it again for the quest and that sort of thing. So I can see why people might feel that way on that.
You can definitely run through it very quickly.
But yeah, it's if you know what you're doing, it's 15 minutes.
Yeah, you'd have to solve the puzzles again.
I think if we had launched it as, you know, our second quest following Monkey Madness 3, players might have not been so willing to receive it as a quest.
Well, I get
Says
a lot of
about the
suggestions.
fun of people doing it.
A lot of people just want small mini quests or whatever. Just
Would it give a quest point though?
I don't think it should.
If it's got to be, if it's a quest,
Yeah,
it would
to
have
be
to.
one.
It
It'd have
could
to
be a
be
mini
one,
quest though and
but-
stay in game.
Yeah.
I mean, it takes 15 minutes. Like, what's the argument here? Okay. Well, that's sitting at about 69%. So there you go. Don't know where we go from there. What you guys decide?
On a poll, it'll be yes or no, won't it?
Yeah.
Quick.
Sounds good. Okay. Here
We
we
should
are.
probably do that sooner rather than later then, because in the next update there's a reasonable chance we'd have taken the thing out.
Well, can if we
Pull it
take out,
Wednesday,
can
decisions
we add
made
it back
Thursday.
in again afterwards with
Oh, hell
this
yeah.
new revamped rewards and
Yes,
Well,
I don't mind redoing it.
Okay.
And they probably won't.
yeah.
Rick Meyer says, can the unique hardcore Iron Man armor be upgradable when reaching certain defense levels? It looks amazing, but it's useless. Does look amazing. It's perhaps
look
my
sick,
favorite
yeah.
armor set in the game.
I just recolored it, but cheers.
It's good recall.
It's basically a way cooler looking version of the Iron Man armor, and it goes with like everything,
Yeah, I agree.
but it sucks. It's
The
like
powering
Iron
up, I mean, I understand because obviously they want to wear it, but the powering up thing means you don't, all of a sudden you don't have to go and get your Adam and you don't have to go and get your rune and your other armors.
I would have it so that you have to combine the two bits of armour.
Yeah.
Rather
So-
than just sort of upgrade. So you upgrade it by adding it to a mithril plate body, and then it gives you the mithril plate body set. So you still.
But how far do we go?
So that's the thing is you
Oh,
have
stop
to
it at ring,
visually
like,
change what it looked like, right? I mean, we've talked about this before, and the issue was, I mean, you're not going to be PKing on a hardcore Iron Man, but if you were,
Yeah.
basically nobody knows what you're wearing, and that's always something in our game that we want to keep
But if they
true.
just assume it's the best,
Yeah.
there's nothing to go wrong there. Is that if it's worse, and it's like, oh no, they're weaker to my attacks. Damn it.
Yeah. I'll take it as far as rune and leave it at that. I would think because if
I
you
think-
get yourself a Bandos plate body, if you're an Ultimate Iron hardcore man mode man dead man thing,
Clan.
then you're going to want to wear it to show, look, I'm an Ultimate Iron.
Yeah, that was my
hardcore
concern.
dead man
Like, you want
mode
to show
thing.
off the status of what you have, so.
I think it's up to rune, so it's nice and easy.
I think
Okay.
that
Has to
that's
be
a good thing to
identifiable,
do.
really. That's the thing. So we'll see what the artists can do, maybe, and then we can consider pulling something. All right, moving on. We still have. Oh, actually, we'll do one more question before we send Mod West over, maybe.
Sounds good.
Okay. Hutchins says, "Could we get a counter for how many Castle Wars games we've played?"
Have to count it going forward, I assume.
Yeah.
I think when we originally did it in RuneScape, we counted how many tickets people had, didn't we? But that wasn't accurate.
No, it missed off all the ones that were built into people's player and house stands at the time, and there wasn't a thing anyone could do about it afterwards.
Yeah. So we could do that and sort of guess, I
We
suppose.
we could do it better than that, like as you say, and not make that mistake. But I mean, if anyone has bought things, the consumable stuff, or just dropped it, they've played those games and don't get counted for it.
Players have generally accepted us adding counters that don't look at what happened before it came out. They are happy with it going forwards. Obviously, it's not as good as if it could look backwards,
Right.
but it hasn't stopped asking for counters anyway.
Yeah, I mean, surely it's best to have the counter from going on forward, so
Yeah,
no
that's it.
downside, it seems.
I think we probably should add a counter for every mini game out there. Even if we're not publicly showing it to the players, at least start counting it.
What would it take for us to be able to get, minigame high scores? We have now some minigame high score. If we can get the web team to upload us a load more of the things, then the things could be visible to the players.
And we had a conversation about something recently, didn't we? We were having a conversation about raids and the raids high scores, because we were looking at doing a raid high scores for the quickest raids, but it has to count downwards instead of upwards, and that was the thing they were finding difficult to cope with.
Because it's always counted up.
So the other stuff that we talk about is how many you've done, all that other stuff that we could push out to them. They all seemed quite.
We could have counted up by saying, this is how many minutes less than 50 hours it took you.
As for mini games, we've already got one for Last Man Standing. We wouldn't do one for the Duel Arena. I mean, would we just do one for Castle Wars?
I mean, it all boils down to how many high scores we can get from the web team. If we go to them with a load of 20 different suggestions and they say, right, we'll do all 20 all at once, it's a lot easier for us to do 20 at once than one at a time, then we'll do it that way. If it's a case of, well, one at a time is much easier for us to do 20 at a time.
I think if they all work the same way, it'll be easy enough for them to do all at once. I mean, if they'll work the normal way.
Yeah, exactly, that's what I'm thinking. So we
also want to get treasure trails up there.
Yeah.
That sort of thing.
You throw in the one that counts backwards, so that might suddenly turn out to be the slow one.
Yes, exactly, which is, I think, is where the issue goes. But I think we need to talk to them and figure out how to do it.
But most boss kills, times for raids. I mean, times for the other bosses we're timing as well. I believe Fight Caves we time, Zeah we're timing. I don't know what else, but all these things would be awesome to have up there.
Speedrunning tables would be really good. That'd be cool.
We're running short on time, so we're going to send Mod West over. It's going to Zeah sneak peek of the week, and then when we come back, we'll show the pumpkin reveal. I'm so excited.
Feels Pumpkin Man.
Oh, you had to.
Okay, guys, let's head over then.
Hello. So I am currently in the Shazian graveyard. So as you can see, I've made a few changes. I've added a little path around it just so it makes it feel a little more together, as well as a fence to keep it all enclosed so you can see it. I also did something as well. I figured out that the gravestones in Zeah didn't have icons on the map, so I put those in as well. So now you can see all the little crosses on there. So if we swap over to Tom to see what it used to look like. So again, it's a minor change, but it really does make it feel more together. And I mean, a lot of people didn't even know there was a graveyard there, so that's another thing. Okay, so the next area, we're going to go down to the centre, or up to the centre even. So I'm just going to be going through Shazian. You'll be maybe noticing a few differences of taking a few buildings out each corner, stuff like that. And we're going to head towards the castle. So the castle is a new feature. It's in the location where the statue used to be. I've not moved the statue in any way. I've just kind of built like a castle around it essentially. So we'll go in here. I really enjoyed making this. So let's open the door. Sensitivity on this mouse is bad, so my clicks are terrible. So this is the castle. Tried to keep it in keeping with just go right, up. Then stay by the statue. Okay, cool. And I'm just going to head out to the statue here. So this is where the statue is currently in game. So if we swap over to Tom to see, this is what it currently looks like. So it was really high up. It was kind of awkward to access because you can only go from one entrance. And if you wanted to go other ways, it was kind of awkward. So if we swap back to me a second, there we go. So yeah, I've sort of lowered it down quite a bit, made a little wall around the outside. You can still enter from this side as well as the northern side. So the northern side will take you one way off to Loviken, and then the northern way will still take you to Arceus. So let's go back into the castle. I'll just show you some of the floors I've put in. So there's a few things in here. So up here we've got some, well, on the first floor there's not much. It's mostly just, castle-y stuff, as you'd expect. There's a cool little courtyard. There we go, courtyard. Down there with some battlements in there. I've also changed how the front of it looks as well, so it looks more like a battle take place. Skeletons, bones, all that stuff. Let's go up the stairs again. Where did I put those? Over there. Okay, up here there's some interesting things. So we got ourselves a bank. I mean, it won't be faster than teleporting from like castle walls to the statue, so that shouldn't be too much of an issue when using the catacombs. We've also got a little altar here that you can pray at, of course, and I put like a little lesser demon in here because I like those sort of things. Think of like the Wizard's Tower, stuff like that. What else we got? That's pretty much just all done. So now let's go to a different place. So we head to Arceus. So go diagonally upwards, north, east. There we go. I use actual directions. Okay, so mostly with Arceus, I've just removed some things, and also made it feel maybe a bit more vibrant. So I go to the centre. That's the most different section. So I've removed the buildings over here. I've had a little pool, magic trees. So just head down there a little bit. There we go. So if we swap back to Tom to see what it looks like there, that's what it looks like currently live in game. So I can see there's a few more buildings, and I've also added a way up here. So if we swap back to me, let's go up here. I've added a connection. Oh, should not have gone there. There was a push tile that pushed me all the way back to Lumbridge. Okay, let's try that again. So up here, I'll go the right way. So I've added a little path here that goes off east towards Pasquarius. And from here I will go into the river. So the river is a big addition to the Zeah. It goes straight through the middle. It starts here at the top of Piscarilius. You keeping up?
Kind of.
Just go north of there. Yeah, there we go. So if we swap back to Tom, you can see that that's where I've kind of put the river, just north of him. That building's removed and the sort of mountain over there has sort of been reduced in size. So I'm going to carry on down here. If you swap back to me a second. So this is where the river flows. It starts at the top of Piscarilius. It goes through Hesidius. So some lovely bridges over the river. And willow trees. I expect those to be by rivers. And that goes all the way down here. It goes past the Tithe Farm. This has been reduced in size quite a bit, so you can fit the river in. And nice little bench there if you want to hang out. Why not? And yeah, this river just keeps going down. So this is all new. Before here there was buildings and other things like that. So yeah, this little crossroads here right before the bank. And from here I'm going to go down. I've also changed some of the paths in Hesidius. A lot of people said they were too straight, maybe looked a bit too manufactured. So I've added some dirt paths instead, just to the southern parts to where the farms usually are. So if we go, where did I put that farm? I think it's to the east. Yeah, it's to the east. So I added so remove some of the ploughs and put some just like generic farms in, so onions, wheat, stuff like that, as well as, where is it? There we go. A mill. People wanted a mill. It makes sense, so we put one in. And another little building here, just to bring the place together. And let's go south. So if you head to the south coast, you're just south of there. So if you swap back to Tom, you can see south coast. It was everyone said it was a bit square, so we've made it less square. And if you go, I don't know, where am I? Let's find out where I put them. Okay, here we are. So if you just, yeah, that's fine. If you swap, yeah, okay. So we've added a little NPC here. If I talk to him, he will take me somewhere. Let's just go through this dialogue. At the moment he just asks for money. Whether this will be what happens live, I'm not too sure, but at the moment he asks for 10k, a ridiculous sum of money, and then he takes you to an island. And on the island, it's some extra sand crabs. So a lot of people have been asking for some more 3 spawns. So over here I've not really done that yet, but I've just put some sand crabs around. People like the 3 because you can just stand still and they will attack you, and it's really good for training. So this is like a little area to go where you won't be as contested for areas, if that's what you want. And apart from that, there's still the same amount of sand crabs that were already on the previous beach, so that shouldn't be an issue either. So next, let's head over to, let's just teleport to the Lothian. So here we go. So not major changes. so I give them time to catch up. Mostly just adding paths to the area, so you know which way to go and how to get around, and where those paths. Oh, I added a bridge as well. Why not? Just go to towns F to M, and then go Lovacane. Yeah, there we go. So I had a little bridge over the lava. Why not? As well as a little bridge over here as well. It just felt like there was too much connection going on there, and there were probably buildings here before. Let's go, so if you go south, there we go. Swap over. There we go. So that's what is there. Lots of buildings, lots of no paths. So I've added paths, removed some buildings, made it a bit more navigatable. Is that a word? Sure. Why not? So where we go now? I think that's pretty much what I changed in Lovacane. So let's head over east to the northern areas where I've got some brand new towns. Well, sort of towns. There we go, up north here. I also added a connection up to here as well. So if you want to go from Lovacane to Archaeus, there's now a little gate, fence here, which is right by the library. So in case you need to get around. And there's also some fences, so the blocking is less ambiguous. So up here we can go. So this place doesn't exist on the current game, so we can't really compare areas. This is the place just west of the Wintertodt. So it's got like a little ruined settlement, ruined by the Wintertodt. We've got some ice giants and ice spiders, some just generic NPCs here. It's also multi-combat because that seemed fitting. And let's go north of here. So there's another area which has always been, ever since we released Wintertodt, there's the unmarked grave. That's not changed much, but it wasn't on the map, so not a lot of people knew about it. So, in case you want to go there, that's a cool area to go. And the other new area, which is to the east of the Wintertodt, down this path. This is the fishing hamlet, so another just ruined area. Yeah, it looks great on Tom's there. It's just the blank area. Nice. So yeah, so the fishing hamlet, I've just sort of made a little, tried to give it a bit of character. Lots of fish, a nice little hole in the ground. And there's an NPC as well. He speaks gibberish. Splish splosh. Cool. So, and that's pretty much this area, pretty much sorted. There's also a book as well, but I'm not going to ruin the book. I spent a while writing that, so it's a little bit of lore there. So I'm just going to head back to the other new area. So. Zeah. How much time have we got left? Oh,
-7 minutes.
-7 minutes. Okay, cool. So let's just quickly show off the raids. So this is what I've been working on the past week here. This is like a little sneak peek. Again, this area you won't be able to go to, Tom, because it doesn't exist. So if I just head over here, so this is the door to raids. So if I... So this is a big wall blocking you off from the other area. So you won't be able to go here when the Karen rework goes live, so this is just a teaser to what you will get to go on when the raids finally comes out. So I've made like a little battle area here. Try to make it feel really dour, down, sad. There's lots of dead bodies, dead lizard men, dead corpses. It's great. I've had great fun making this area as well. We've got like a little camp here for the Shazian Guard where they're defending against the lizard men. And then over there's the swamp where the lizard men settlement is, which I'm not going to go into because it's not finished. Like literally what you can see here is what I've made. So I'll just go down to south here as well. Look at these as I'm running out of time. There's another beacon over here, another battle area over there where there's loads of dead bodies, which is nice. And I'm gonna end it there. I'm trying to stand somewhere, stay still for a bit. There we go. Okay, so now we're gonna head over back to the couch where we've got some pumpkin reveals. Thank you.
Well, we want it darker.
We're a little dark.
That is really dark.
So we're here for the pumpkin reveal just before we end the Q&A. Are you guys ready? Are we going to do this?
I'm making
Having fun?
faces with
Yours is pretty thick. So
who goes first, or should we do it together?
Go ahead.
I was worried about it.
you're not
What
going
is-
to come over to.
What is the
You do
theme
it
here,
'cause it's
Matt?
terrible.
On count of three.
Hang on,
Three.
do it to this camera.
Which camera?
Which camera's that?
That one.
You're pointing at all of them.
That one.
Okay.
Okay, here we go.
Oh,
It's invisible. That's it.
I think, yeah, you can see it.
I don't see anything.
Ultra spooky.
Not even the eyes.
It's
Get that zoom going.
So remember,
As you can see, that is a death rune. I didn't make it, disclaimer.
I thought
To
it
be
was
fair, you did just redeem yourself as Zeah, so it's fine.
cool.
right.
Oh,
Hey.
that's pleasant.
Oh god, that is so
There you
bright.
go. Now Mod West wins.
there you go.
So I was worried it was falling apart, so I didn't want to cut it too deep. So there we go.
Should auction it off on eBay, shouldn't we, or something?
Worst death rune ever.
I was going to take them. I don't want to bother decorating this year, so
You might have to thin mine out a little bit.
someone's going to smash them now.
Not indoors, please.
Okay.
Nice
I
one.
think we're about done, yeah. So when can they expect to see those Zeah changes in game?
I don't know.
Good.
Hopefully November. Well, no, definitely November. Do you want to talk about it?
I think Jed's got to do a little bit of work on the coding side of it. I'm almost done from a graphical side of it, so ideally very, very soon.
Okay. That's going to... So, one last thing worth mentioning. Last Man Standing high stakes weekend starts tomorrow at 4 p.m. Don't miss it. That's Friday, Saturday, Sunday. High stakes, you can win a lot of money.
Go lose all your money to Chris. Great.
Yeah.
LMS Archie.
LMS Archie himself.
Don't
That
get
is going
salty when someone beats you for a flick.
That's going to conclude our Halloween special live stream. Thank you for watching. We'll catch you next week. Bye.
Goodbye.